people who want to know what is the KeithAndrewNetwork, the whole point of my talk show is to show you that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, so prove to them to still amount to something. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keith Andrew, and welcome to the Keith Andrew Network. It is episode 1006. Today we sit down with Ms. Eva Emmer. That's right, Eva Emmer is a guest on the one and only Keith Andrew Network. We're going to hear from her when we come back from this quick commercial break. Welcome to the Keith Andrew Network. It's a real honor and privilege having you as a guest.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
No, the honor's all mine. First question I want to ask you is tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
I'm based in LA, and I'm an actress, stunt person, and filmmaker. And I work in various departments in film production.
Oh, absolutely. And now I saw from your website that you're really into filmmaking, so we're only going to stick to those questions for today. First question I want to ask is, what experience do you have in making films?
Okay, so I worked in live event production for over 2 decades globally before I came to LA and I, entered the film industry. And event production is very much like filmmaking. It's just a little bit tougher because you only get the one chance. You don't get to take two, and so it's incredibly similar. And but I love the idea of filmmaking to get a story and bring it to life. And yeah.
So I agree with you 100%. That's the same thing about me, how I'm turning a disability into my own journey and story. So it's as long as you have something to promote and talk about and make it real, then it's a real adventure for people to get on board, because everyone likes a good story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the next one I want to ask you, because we have the top 14, that was number one. Number two, second question is, what is the most rewarding part about making films?
For me, I love the actual process of making it from the beginning, when you consider a story and then you develop the characters and then turn it into a screenplay, and then to see those characters to come to life. I literally truly love every aspect of it, like from development to pre-production and then production, bringing the actual actors in, giving them the opportunity to bring those characters to you the way they can in their own specific way. Each person is, very different than the next, and then, bring the whole crew together, and then finally post to see all that come to life and see it on the big screen is absolutely amazing.
No, I agree. Now, this number three, this one I always use for acting and for writing, and I find it to be a good question, and I would like to know how you feel about this one. Number three is, and it kind of relates to me, who was building my talk show and all that. So I like to know how you feel. What is hard about catering and building to the right audience?
I think I don't think that way. What I do is I produce or work in projects that I think I could deliver the best with my capabilities. And I think if you focus on what you can do best, and every category has its own audience anyway, and those people will appreciate you doing a great job versus you say, oh, I'm gonna just I don't know, I love sci-fi or horror, and I want to just make sure I do horror films for horror audiences, but you're not good at screaming or showing extreme emotions, then you're not going to be that great. So I just opt for things that I think I can deliver the best of my ability and hope that the audiences for those projects will, appreciate the work.
No, absolutely. And to be fair, I'm going to answer the question too. When I introduce myself to people, they're like, well, tell us what the show is. It's about me turning myself into an example for dealing with disabilities. And they automatically assume that I interview people with disabilities. And I feel like I'm being slapped a label and say, no, yes, I interview people with disabilities, but I'm turning myself in someone who reads and learns at a fourth, fifth grade level to a high school level, who falls on the spectrum of being retarded, who deals with depression. I'm showing you, if a disabled talk show host, that's my new catchphrase, I'm a disabled talk show host. If I can do it and create my very own thing, and thanks to it's 1006, then labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. It's approved of it. But going back to the question of what is...
That is so true. That is so true. Well done.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
To be really proud of.
But going back to the question about what's hard about catering, building to the right audience, is I know I sound like an idiot when I say this, but and I know the expression, if you try to please everyone, you're going to set yourself up for failure.
That's
and
right.
I am my own worst enemy because I say that to myself all the time, but yet I do it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, well, I cater to the wrestling fans because I have wrestlers. I have actresses, models, CEOs, producers, people with disabilities. I do circus acts. I do voiceovers. So there's KeithAndrewNetWork Entertainment has a little bit of everything. So if you ask me, what is your audience? I have no idea. I've been doing this for 10 years. I have no idea. I know people support me because I have a message, but let me ask you.
I would say, like, if you're doing your podcast mostly on, or interviews, or, your channel mostly on entertainment, then I think people who are wanting to enter or who are within the industry already, there's a lot they can learn from each other, from, by watching your channels. Informative and it's interesting.
Well, let me ask you that question, but in a different way. How do you cater to the right audience, and how do you build on that?
Again, I try to I write as well, and I look at stories that resonate with me first of all, because if I feel something for that, I can write about it better. I can put my heart and soul into it and write in a way that will probably resonate with others out there. And so I think, it depends what you want to go for. Sometimes, filmmakers, not everybody wants to create commercial films. A lot of people want to explore new options, new techniques, a whole new vision. And that's interesting too. That's fascinating. I noticed that in the film festival circuit, they have experimental like as a category now. So, that shows that how much of variety is out there. But for me, it has to be what I think I can do best. And I love everything, a little bit of everything. Like right now, I'm working on producing a script that's written by an English writer, Lee Taylor. He's extremely gifted. It's a horror movie. So I'm sort of consulting on the script with him, and we're looking to produce it. And then at the same time, I'm writing a miniseries, only 4 episodes, which is a comedy. We're working with my other senior partner in the business on a documentary that we think it's maybe it's something to talk about, and a topic that needs to talking about in the United States. So we're looking at a lot of different things at the same time, and they all go different ways. And it's like when people ask me what kind of film you like. I like everything. I think a great horror movie is just as good as a great dramatic movie. So I hope that answers a little bit.
No, I agree. And you mentioned you were a writer. Are you good at writing articles about people?
Um, I'm not, I don't know. I think I could. Yeah. I hope so. Yeah, I have extreme dyslexia, which makes literature hard. But it's interesting. And for years, I didn't think that I could write until I attended a film sort of event, which was online. And I came to talk with this other writer filmmaker, and he was from UK. And my roots go back to Europe. So we got on immediately. We had great conversation, and he kind of told me, like, from talking to you, I feel like you could write. Why don't you just do it? And I thought, you know what? Let's just do it. So, and then I started writing, and I found it really fun and interesting. And I realized that I could write really fast and pretty well, considering that. So there's me like you, overcoming disabilities.
Yeah, absolutely. So number four, I'm going to ask you two questions now because number four is kind of simple. Number four is, how do you work in a stressful situation? And number five, I did it again. Actually, let's just stay to one. Make it easier. I don't want to throw too many things at you because that's stupid. So how do you work in a stressful situation?
I try to avoid it. I try to, one of the promises I made myself, because I've been on over 2,000 film, television, and commercial sets in the past decade. And, you learn a lot by being on other productions. You learn a lot from what to do and what not to do. And what not to do was stressful environment. It's toxic. It affects everybody and their work, and most of all me. I don't function in with stress. I can't, and this is artistic work, so it's even harder. So I try on my sets. That's the promise I made myself, is that I hire actors, I hire the kind of crew that everybody works well, everybody's considerate, and is stress-free as much as possible.
Absolutely. Hashtag absolutely. Because I worked in retail too. So, and my dad likes to remind me how many times I was fired. I was fired about once, maybe twice. I'm not really sure about the second, but one time definitely. Quit jobs on the other hand, a lot of stories because the guys were, I was in it. I'm never going to work for this company ever again, so it doesn't make a difference. So I worked at Saks Fifth, and this guy went for an interview, and he's like, "Well, we like you, but there's absolutely no hiring. We can't hire you." Okay, that's all he had to say. Calls me up a couple of days later. The guy was an asshole anyway. He calls me up a couple of days later. Oh, I really like you, and I want to give you a position in the company. We're just gonna randomly make it up. And I'm like, can you do that? Can you just randomly make shit up and say that's your job title? Oh, I didn't say anything. I said, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. You're gonna do operations manager. So I'm gonna be a manager. No, you're not gonna be a manager. But you just said I'm operational manager. Oh, we could talk about that later. And then basically my job was go there 8 in the morning, take the hangers down, collect the sensors, get the carts. And the thing that pissed me off was that when I got there, it was all done. They did the job for me already. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not a salesperson because I don't like doing sales that much. The stock price is massive and it's making my head spin. And you just told me I'd be doing custodial work, come in, clean the windows, all that, but everything's done. So what the hell am I doing here? And so this went on for a while. Then they're like, okay, we're going to make you a salesperson. And then the manager had the nerve to talk down to me. And she knew I had a disability. And she's like, all right, Keith, this is what we're going to do. Okay. Do you
Oh wow.
understand what I'm saying to you?
Oh wow. I'm so sorry for that.
Absolutely. And it's I couldn't do it. So, not to complain to you, but I have my parents might say, oh, you want to go back to work at this mall, but you've been, what, 13 different jobs there? And you, I know, I have diarrhea of the mouth. But the manager was a real asshole. And as I said from the beginning, it was set up to fail from the start because it wasn't a real position. And they just did it as a joke and say, oh, let's do
I think what's lacking in the United States as a whole is the consideration and sort of knowledge of different sort of issues that people have, whether it's a mental disability, physical disability, deformity. Like one time I was looking into these certain things. I do a lot of research as well, and you have to for filmmaking and writing. And I came across this kid that wrote that he has a physical disability, and he keeps making a profile on social media, all of them, as matter of fact, and they all keep taking his photos down, saying that this is too disturbing for society. And then there is all sorts of like nudity, perversiveness, I don't know, you name it, everything out there. But his face, because of his deformity, is disturbing. And so they won't let him have an account, maybe because his face is deformed slightly up. And so I actually looked into that, found the kid, looked at his photos, and he just has a slight deformity. It's not even that bad, but he's a human being. And even if it was really bad, that is the face he lives with every day. And for others to treat him like that, he can't even, they write back to him, take off the mask, send us your ID. He does. He sends so many photos saying, look, I have a deformity. And they still treat him really bad. So I think we lack, we lack consideration for others hugely in this country, but more than anything, just compassion as well, and understanding.
No, I agree. And I'm no prize myself, but I have my emotions on my sleeve. Literally, I do. And I'm very sensitive. So if someone has like a deformity, missing an arm, missing a leg, missing the side of the face, I can't deal with that. Not to sound like I'm an asshole or anything. I mentally can't process this, and it would seriously give me a nervous breakdown. And people call me out on that. It's like, you said you can't look at this guy who has no arms and legs, and you're a advocate for people with disabilities. Yes, I support him. I want him to have a good life, but it physically
it's
bothers me. So I know that's like,
you don't know how to process it. I know that. It's a lot of people don't understand that you're not being squeamish, or just like, I don't know, standoffish. You're actually, it physically affects you and mentally and emotionally, and then you're having to deal with trauma, and they don't understand that. But that's fine. You can usually put on someone's photo, you can put like, I don't know, a warning. If you're okay, look at that. But you can, if you see it on social media, you can scroll past it, whatever's upsetting. But to delete people completely, I'm not sure. It's wrong.
Well, it is. Everyone has a right to get themselves out there. I'm not saying we'll run around nude or something, but if you have a disability, and I accept the fact I do have one, just use it as a strength. Use it and see how it benefits you. But anyway, not to go off subject. I'm gonna say I'm sensitive around certain things like that. It's not just around
everyone is about something or another.
So the next one I want to ask you is, this actually is a funny question. What is the least favorite thing that you had to produce? Was it stories? Was it shows? Like, I'm not a big fan
Well,
of doing this,
the
but
production, my production company is actually pretty new. I just launched in 2020. So we're just starting out. I haven't had any bad experiences yet, but as far as just production, whether it's like film or live events, is the hardest thing is when you work with other people who are indecisive, who don't know what they want, and they're changing their decision last minute, left and right, and that makes it incredibly hard to achieve something good or something of value, or quality. Um, it's it's like you need to make a decision about these kind of things and just stick with it, good or bad. You just and hopefully trust the people who are working for you, your production team, that they're not going to do something really awful. Yeah.
absolutely. Now, the next one I'm talking to you about social media real fast is what websites are important to you. There's Facebook, there's LinkedIn, and my slogan I used to use, can social media make you or break you with everything that you accomplish? What are the websites you would recommend?
I've learned not to depend on social media because I created accounts. They, especially ones like Instagram, they ask you to create an account, a business account. When you create a business and then invest in it or promote it, do this, do that. They make you charge a lot of money over time. And then eventually when you a year later, when you're just starting to, take off, the account gets hacked, and
Yeah.
they did absolutely nothing for over a year to return my account to me. When they did, I lost all the clients, I lost everything. So it was like starting from zero, and I had worked 3 years nonstop continuously on that account, really, really hard. We spent a lot of money for photography, professional photo shoots. We created professional content. We spent an insane amount of time for delivering good, quality content, and then it was down the tube. So I learned that social media is there, and I will use it, but I'm not gonna depend on it. And I'm more investing on my work and my own personal website because that's mine.
No, you should do your own thing because, and I'm throwing it out there. And if anyone out there uses, what's that stupid thing? It's in Snapchat.
Mm-hmm.
It's TikTok. If anyone uses TikTok, remove that crap from your phone because when you download it, you get Chinese spyware and they do hack your phone. I never downloaded it, but I get these emails in Chinese or Japanese or whatever the hell it is. And it's like, oh, you have a meeting today. It's like, how the hell did I don't know who this is or what it is. Still trying to figure out how to get rid of it. But that's the thing. You go on Facebook, like, oh, hey, that's Holly Berry. And there's 5,000 or 500 of Holly Berry comes up. What they should really do is regulate the websites, you know, show proof of ID, who you are. And if you get your account turned off, you can't make up another account using somebody's pictures because you have so many people pretending to be someone like role players or you have spam bots. It's unnecessary bullshit. Well, you should, what LinkedIn has is show me your license. Of course, you can cover your numbers. Show me your license, and
Yeah.
this is who you are. But unfortunately, there's always going to be a group of people who are going to misuse it, and everyone
I
else is going to
I
be
feel like these platforms, what they lack is rules and regulations. You see, they
yes,
came at a time. Facebook, when Facebook started, it initially was like, oh, we just want to create a platform for people to make friends and it's all free. And then now all of them are like that, actually, not just Facebook to be picking on them, but all of them are like that. If you put up a post, no one's going to see it unless you pay for it,
yeah.
which is sad. So it's not a free platform anyway, by all means. Sometimes I even posted things where my own, like out of thousands of connections, my own connections, that I can only reach 7 people. Like you kidding? They're always all of them online. So how did it only reach so few of them? Oh, do you want to boost the post? No, I don't. For my own, even like private account, for my own connections to see this, no, I don't want to boost the account. But what they lack, I believe, is laws and regulations. Like I personally think that companies that are this big, corporations, they need by law legally to have customer service phone lines. A person, not an automated machine, a person on the other end helping to fix issues, rules, and they need customer support. Like I think even search engines like Google do. And the fact that they all can get away with it, I don't know. But that's why our country is the way it is. We're a mess because we don't have the rules and regulations in the right places we need them to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Not to talk about politics, but a while ago they were giving Trump a hard time, and they should, because he's an asshole, about how he took classified documents. But if you really think about it and you go back and look, they all did it. Biden did it, George Bush did it, Clinton did it, and it's only recently they're only cracking down. You don't know how far. Ronald Reagan probably has it. They all have something that they're not supposed to.
That's very true.
And especially with the balloon thing, that was just ridiculous. And that was another stupid thing. But I do have a couple questions for you off the air.
Mm-hmm.
But wait, there you go, it unfroze. But it was the last 3 minutes. I want to ask you, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes? How do you feel now? Would you recommend it to other people? And how can people follow you on social media?
Interesting you asked that, because I'm actually a very private person, and I'm probably the oddball in the fact that I love acting and filmmaking, but I like the behind the scenes part. I hate being in front of acting, you are in front of the camera, but in front of audiences. Like, I'm not super comfortable with interviews or any kind of live event or talk shows the way all these from directors and producers through to actors do. That to me it's extremely hard. But and this wasn't easy. But I said yes because you told me your disabilities, and I had the opportunity in the past to work with a number of various types of disabled people. And what I loved about them is that they are the only group of people that never complain. They work the hardest. They thrive to succeed in their own way at something or another. They're kind and caring. They're like they work the best. And interesting enough, there are a number of people globally and companies that actually look for people like that to hire, because they know that they're more hardworking, more understanding, and just less trouble. So I'm really proud of you. It was impressive to me, and I thought, yeah, I'd like to be a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And how can people, it's funny you mentioned you're a private person, but to be honest, not to sound like an ass or anything,
No.
And I was told this too, because I have my stuff on private. To be in the entertainment light, to have people, be a fan of yours, you can't have anything private, because you have to show people who you are. Of course, you have the right to your privacy, absolutely. But it's kind of like,
which one is it? The balance.
Yeah, it's right? Like, which one is it? You say you're private, but you want to be in the public eye. I mean, if you don't want to be in the public eye, why do what you're doing? Like, why am I doing what I'm doing? But, I do have a couple questions for you off the air about wrapping up our interview segment. It was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. This will be played on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So make sure to like and subscribe, and until we meet again, catch you later. Thank you, and have a good night.
Hey kid,